We can test right now.
For the words we like to hear, we welcome.
It's a high, deep drive into left field, and this ball is long gone. Safe. He got under the tag.
Will one hop the wall and it lands for a double.
Want to ride into deep left field, and this ball is gone. Falmouth is going to the Western Division Final.
Hello and welcome into the Eric Palmer press box at Gov Fuller Field for the final time in the regular season. Danny LaRose joined alongside David Korsanowski. Pleased to have you with us for this 43rd and final home game for the Commodores in 2019 before the playoffs begin. This will also be the final game that the Commodores play against the Cotuit Kettleers. They are so far 4-1 against Cotuit, 1-0 today against Cotuit. They won game one by a score of 7-2, looking to make it back-to-back.
Yeah, they are, and it was kind of a weird game. We saw two position players pitch for Cotuit. Their starting pitcher tonight played center field last game. This game doesn't mean anything for either two teams. To put it bluntly, the Commodores have locked up first place. Cotuit is now cemented in third. They cannot move up to second, so right now just trying to keep the arms loose, keep the bodies fresh, and hopefully just have a quick game here before the playoffs start on Friday.
Their arm starting on the mound is going to be Chris Gonzalez, the lefty out of Stetson University. Gonzalez will probably only go a couple of innings before he gets relieved for both these teams, throwing out some bullpen days as everything is all set in order in the Western Division. The Commodores have locked up the first place spot in both the West and the entire Cape League. Cotuit can't get out of third place, so pretty much everything here is all paperwork at this point.
It is indeed, and it also shows that Gonzalez would probably not be a starting pitcher in the first round against Bourne, because throughout the earlier part of the season, we saw Franco Aleman was sort of the number one guy, then Majinski, and then Gonzalez was usually starting the day after Majinski for a majority of the season, but you probably wouldn't see that rotation exactly in that order in the playoffs.
The lefty from Stetson throws to his partner in name, Nick Gonzalez, who takes a first pitch strike at the knees. No balls and a strike, and we're underway in game two from Gov Fuller Field. The 0-1 to Gonzalez. The leadoff man is lined up the middle for a base hit. Nick now has 3 hits in his last 3 games, all of them against the Commodores.
And with Zach DeLoach not in the starting lineup for Falmouth, Gonzalez is going to need a couple hits to match him in batting average. Remember, even though the Commodores play tomorrow, this is Cotuit's last game of the season, so Gonzalez, who's at 347 and 6 points behind Zach DeLoach, probably needs at least a pair of hits today.
It's Nick Gonzalez followed by Matt Mervis, batting third Andrew Check, and in the cleanup spot Robbie Martin for the Cotuit Kettleers. As the first pitch to the lefty, Mervis is lined towards second, and that one just skips up and over the glove of Max Ferguson into right field, misplayed by Baron Radcliffe. Nick Gonzalez is going to round third. He's going to come home. Here's the throw from Kendall into the plate. Not in time. It is a 3-bagger for Mervis thanks to the error out in right field, and just like that, Cotuit's on the board.
Yeah, that was a single from Matt Mervis, and almost could have been a double play. I know maybe asking for a lot, but Ferguson extending to his left, just couldn't get that glove extended quite enough. Skipped right in front and then into right, and just a poor route taken by Baron Radcliffe, who's tabbed with the error.
Solid contact through the first 2 hitters for Cotuit. Has plated a run as the first pitch fastball is a strike to Check. Batting fifth, Parker Chaver. Sixth, Christian Robinson. And then the final 3 in this lineup for the Kettleers, Adam Oviedo, Cody Pasek, and Mason McWhorter. 0-1 is clubbed into right center field. This one's going to get down for a hit. It's already 2-0 in favor of Cotuit. Both of the runs unearned, and still not an out yet recorded.
How about that? And this is happening quickly, too. Early in counts, the Cotuit Kettleers are swinging and making hard contact.
Robbie Martin is going to get up to the plate with 2 runs already home and a runner on first. Martin, a big lefty from Florida State University, has been struggling on the season so far with a batting average at 160 on the dot. First pitch taken on the outside corner for a strike. Robbie went 0 for 4 last night in the game played between these two teams that resulted in a victory for the Doors. Here's the 0-1 offering from Gonzalez. Just misses a little bit outside. That's Tim Carey behind home plate calling the balls and strikes. At first base is Mark Delaney, and third base Larry Rosenberg. Did I mix that up?
No, you got it.
Okay. 1-1, check swing, grounder over towards first. Coots is going to go to second with it, a little bit of an errant throw, and they say that Kendall was off the bag, and he is irate. Looked like he made the scoop with his backhand while keeping the toe on the base, but no dice, says Rosenberg. Everybody's safe.
Nightmare right now for Chris Gonzalez, who's fired under 10 pitches, already been tabbed with a few hits, and 2 errors already for the Commodores. This is maybe the worst start to a game we've seen all summer.
And you know what? This is what happens when you play an onslaught of games in such a limited amount of time. This team's starting to show a little bit of fatigue, a little sloppy here and there, and we saw it early in the game. In game 1, they were able to come back with the bats, but right now putting themselves in a hole. Another chopper over towards first. Coots is going to step on the bag, but he'll have no play anywhere else. 1 down.
Now batting the center fielder from State
Nice play by Jackson Coots, who was looking over to second base to possibly make the throw over, just not in time, as Martin moves over to second.
So runners on second and third, and finally the first out of the inning is recorded. Gonzalez still under around 10 pitches, and he's now 6 men through the order. It's Christian Robinson, the center fielder, coming up to the plate. Robinson got the game off in game 1. He did play last night, went 0 for 2, grounded out to first, reached on an E5 and scored, and then walked in his last at-bat. A Stanford Cardinal during his spring seasons, also batting below 200 on a struggling Cotuit team. Kettleers locked into third place, and now a game under 500 after the loss in game 1, as an 83-mile-an-hour breaker misses below the knees. Defensive alignment for the home team. Gonzalez throwing into Claunch, at left field Langworthy, center field Blake Dunn, right field Barron Radcliffe, the infield third base Stephen Moretto, shortstop Kevin Kendall. Swing and a miss. Second base Max Ferguson for the second game in a row, and Jackson Coots is at first.
Gonzalez continuing to throw strikes, though, even though he gets clocked for a few singles to start off the game. He's thrown just 2 balls all inning.
The 1-2. Fly ball into left field. This is shallow. It will be caught by Langworthy. We'll see if they try to test him, and Cotuit will not, as a very high throw comes into the plate. But smart move by Andrew Check, just to hold up with how short that one was hit.
Yeah, and Mike Roberts was making sure that he wasn't going. He was about 10 feet in front of the third base bag and put on a big stop sign.
So far, 2 runs home for Cotuit, 3 hits and 2 errors against the Commodores. We're through 2/3 of an inning. Still, that final out is looming with Adam Oviedo at the plate. The first pitch to the righty from TCU, and now Oral Roberts is fouled away. He'll be transferring to Oral Roberts in Oklahoma. He was a rising junior with the Horned Frogs these past couple of years, and a second-year Cotuit Kettleer. Got the start in game 1 and went 1 for 3. With a single in his final AB. Swings and misses at an off-speed pitch. Gonzalez gets ahead 0-2.
Good looking pitch from Gonzalez, who really hasn't shown that much frustration at all. Just getting back on the mound, working pretty quickly.
He's got Check on third and Martin on second, trying to strand them there. Looking in towards his catcher, Claunch. Now he comes set. That glove right in front of his chin. The 0-2. Down in the dirt. Good block by Troy. Oviedo an even 30 hits and 123 at-bats this summer. That's good for a 243 average. Also has 19 RBIs. He racked up an RBI last night on a sac fly. 1-2 count to the righty. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball that hooks outside. Gonzalez, a native of Miami, Florida, at Stetson this past year, 7-3 record, 3.40 ERA, one of their best arms. So far on the summer, an ERA just above 5 that's been steadily decreasing. 2-2, grounded foul along the pole side.
Yeah, he's had some great starts his last couple times out. 5 innings of work against Bourne. That was in a doubleheader on Saturday. Gave up just 2 earned runs on 5 hits, struck out 6. The time before that, maybe his best outing of the summer. 6 shutout innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 2 Ks.
2-2 count with 2 outs to Oviedo. A hook that's lifted into shallow right field. Radcliffe trotting in, and he will make the catch for the final out of the inning. A weird and wild first. Sees 2 runs score on 3 hits, 2 errors against Falmouth, and 2 runners left on base. We'll head to the bottom of the first, 2-0 in favor of Cotuit.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more. Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Home first on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network with the Doors trailing by a couple against their arch rival, the Cotuit Kettleers.
Arch rival. I like that.
Haven't seen much of a rivalry this summer with the Doors up 4-1 on them in the season series and comfortably ahead of Cotuit, who sits at 3rd place. We'll take you through the lineup for the Doors as they try to make it 5-1 on the season series. A little different from Game 1. Getting a lot of big bats coming into the lineup as they're expecting to face a bunch of guys who never really pitch for the Kettleers.
Yeah. So Donta Williams on the mound for Cotuit, and you got probably the weirdest batting order you've seen since there were temporary players here in the first week. Langworthy leading off. I can't remember a game that he's done that this season.
Yeah.
Coots is in the 3 spot. Clonch is batting cleanup as the catcher, and then you got Radcliffe, Moretto, and Ross before Ferguson and Kendall rounded out. So hitters 3 through 7 really have a lot of power.
First pitch to Langworthy from Donta Williams is taken below the knees. Donta is an outfielder from the University of Arizona, has not pitched once all summer as he gets a strike to catch the knees 1-1. And he hadn't played since July 26th against the Gatemen before he played in Game 1 in the field today. Now he's getting the start in Game 2, so he's getting his money's worth for those previous 5 days off. Another ball misses low.
His stuff actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, compared to Colton Kessler, who we saw toeing the rubber for the last 2 innings of Game 1.
Kessler was throwing at about 55 miles per hour.
Yeah, I think there was off speed, quote unquote, that hit 50, and his fastball was in the high 60s.
Here's the 3-1 to Langworthy, a two-way player himself, as he takes a 5-pitch walk. So already the Doors are in business with the leadoff man reaching on a base on balls.
Number 23, Blake Dunn.
And I don't even know what your strategy is. You probably take first couple pitches from Williams until he can establish the strike zone. His stuff doesn't look bad. I mean, his fastball right now, according to the radar gun, is hitting about 89 off speed in the mid-70s. It's respectable.
Blake Dunn walked a couple times himself in game 1, also doubled. Ended up going 1 for 2 with an RBI thanks to a bases-loaded walk as he watches a first pitch at 89. Good stuff from Donta at the knees of Dunn. No balls and a strike to the center fielder from Western Michigan. Blake leads the team in walks at 21. 0-1 breaking ball, chopped right at the second baseman Gonzalez. He flips onto second for 1, onto first. Just like that, a 4-6-3 double play erases the base runners. And Williams has 2 outs.
There you go. That'll get the job done. Hard hit from Dunn over towards second base, but just a routine play made by some of the everyday starters for Cotuit. That middle of the infield is one of the best defensively in the Cape League, with Gonzalez at second and Oviedo at short.
First pitch to Jackson Coots, fouled away. This might be playable for Pasek, who runs out of room.
I was going to say, I'd put them up against any two up the middle.
Even Trey and Hayden?
Yeah, I think so. Because Trey and Hayden, as good as they've been, it's not like they've been, unstoppable. They've had some errors here and there.
Jackson Coots, a 275 hitter from the University of Rhode Island, facing an 0-1 count. Slugs one the other way, and he's got a single. Second base runner of the game for Falmouth. First reached on a walk, now a base knock for Jackson.
He's been swinging such a good bat. Pokes it into the opposite field. It just seems like he's a singles machine. He's got a couple extra base hits with 2 doubles and a triple, but he can really find that shallow outfield grass as good as anyone else on the team.
Here comes Troy Claunch, who hasn't played in the last couple of games. Doors, with their 3 catchers, being able to use them pretty equally with all these doubleheaders as he watches a 76-mile-an-hour curve hit the strike zone. 0-1 to the catcher from Oregon State. Doors went from their white unis on the white pants over to the blacks. Normally see those on the road, but they decided to don the new tops with these white pants, a new-ish look we're seeing from them.
They did it against Hyannis in one game, I believe. They had the white pants on the road for that 12 o'clock start at McKeon Park.
Because of a laundry issue. And it seems like they kind of like the look.
I dig it. I think the home blacks look great. I think it gives them kind of a bad boy look. Seriously. I'm serious. They look way more intimidating in black than in white.
I'll give you that. Cotuit's still wearing their practice jerseys because of the heat. 1-2, another breaking ball that sits high.
Looking a little bit more at the middle infield. Cantrell and Cruz do have Oviedo and Gonzalez beat in terms of errors. Cantrell and Cruz each with 5. Oviedo for Cotuit has 9 and Gonzalez has 6. So 15 for the Cotuit middle infielders and 10 for Falmouth. But you got to keep in mind, Cruz has been at third a little bit too, and Kendall has got some starts at short. Ball misses outside, and Tawa's been at second as well. So maybe this pairing for Cotuit has probably seen more games defensively than Cruz and Cantrell up the middle.
3 balls, 2 strikes now to Claunch with a runner at first and 1 out. 2-0 score in favor of the Kettleers. Here's the pitch. Outside for ball 4. 2 walks now on the inning. And the Doors have runners on first and second.
I think the pace of this game is going to be quite slow. We saw it in game 1. We saw it yesterday with Cotuit and Falmouth, but when you're throwing Donta Williams and maybe a couple other position players, as the Cotuit Kettleers are slated to do, pace of play might drag on a little bit.
Yeah, Mike Roberts not hiding anything. He's open with his entire roster this ball game, telling straight up who's going to be pitching and when. First pitch to Radcliffe misses up and away. He wrote it on his lineup card. He said it's going to be Donta Williams, who starts out at pitcher, and then for Robbie Martin, he wrote right field / pitcher, Parker Chavers, left field, second base / pitcher, and then Oviedo shortstop, pitcher, back to shortstop.
Well, that's
So-
something we saw from Cotuit yesterday is they're not afraid to mix up the fielding mid-inning as well. Yesterday they moved Schmidt from third to first or from third to pitcher, and then they brought in Matt Mervis,
Right.
who was previously playing first, so all kinds of stuff.
Just plug and place in these final couple days. Here's a chopper towards the opposite side. Oviedo with trouble getting it out of his glove as he reacts and throws to first, just getting Baron Radcliffe in the nick of time. The Falmouth Commodores get no runs on one hit, no errors, and do strand a couple runners on base. But thanks to a double play and a ground out, Dr. Williams gets out of the inning unscathed. We'll head to the top of the second, 2-0 in favor of Cotuit.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day. Like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Gov Fuller Field. The Commodores trail the Kettleers by a score of 2-0 as we enter the top of the second inning. Cody Pasek, Mason McWhorter, and Nick Gonzalez, 8-9-1 due up for the Kettleers, who scored a couple runs in the first inning thanks to an error out in right field by Baron Radcliffe. Another error by Jackson Coots at first base. Gonzalez so far a couple runs against him, but none of them earned. He's back out for his second inning of work, which might be his last. Not quite sure how the Doors are trying to balance their pitching. We were just talking about it with the Kettleers, how they're going to four different position players at just different points in the game. Jeff Trundy, I'm sure, thinking the same way, but using a couple of his bullpen arms. First pitch to Cody Pasek is a check swing foul as some ominous clouds start to drift in over the Gov.
Yeah, no more room to put any more games. Tomorrow the Commodores going to be playing against the Gatemen in Wareham. And then that'll be it. Drop dead date is August 1st.
Pasek shoots one out into center field, but Blake Dunn will track it down for out number 1.
Some green clouds out in the greater Boston area right now.
Green clouds?
Well, sorry, on the radar. So that means light rain.
Yeah.
Might be coming our way, but should be able to get at least 5 in.
I'm sure the players wouldn't mind if they saw some rain. First pitch swinging is McWhorter as he puts one up in the air along the left side. Shallow left field, and Kevin Kendall will come down with it. Only 3 pitches thrown in this half inning and already 2 outs.
And Gonzalez has done such a better job of that later in the year, is pitching to contact. We know he's kind of a guy who maybe doesn't rely on his strikeout as much as other pitchers. He tries to get outs in the field. And earlier in the year, he was throwing 2 3-ball counts. He was pitching to contact, but it would take him a little while to get there. In these past few starts, first few innings, he's throwing strikes off the bat. And even when he's getting hit around, like in that first inning, he's out of it quickly with a low pitch count. He's still at just 22 pitches with 2 down in the second.
Here's Nick Gonzalez, the leadoff man who's 1 for 1, takes a ball below the knees. Gonzalez has now reached base in 16 straight games, has a 7-game hitting streak, but if you look at the context of it, normally he's racking up multiple hits and scoring a lot of runs. As he clubs one into left field, and that thing's going to get down for another multi-hit game. Langworthy has to dig it out of the left field fence. Gonzalez will trot into second base with his 3rd double in as many games and days against the Commodores.
Unreal. Up to 14 doubles on the summer.
He's like a cheat code.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I've never seen someone this dominant where every single time they come up to the plate, they're getting a hit.
Yeah. And this is his first 2-hit game against the Commodores, at least in this little 3-game series. I want to go back to a point that you made earlier about how the season series is decided between Falmouth and Cotuit. I'm sure Falmouth's fine with it because they've locked up first place.
Mervis fouls one away.
But there was a point in this season where it looked like these 3 games might be a battle for first.
Yeah, good catch.
Right?
I remember us talking about that.
Because we were like, oh, July 30th and 31st, like 3 games against the Kettleers that might decide who wins the division. Falmouth walks in, and they've already locked it up. I mean, that just speaks to the 11-game winning streak that they were on.
0-1 to Mervis is rocketed into center field. Blake Dunn is back. He's at the track. He's at the wall, and he will make the catch just with a little bit of space. Matt Mervis gave it a ride, looking for another home run against the Doors, but he comes up a little bit short. Gonzalez allows no runs on the 1 hit, no errors and strands. Gonzalez at second base. We'll go to the bottom of the 2nd inning, still 2-0 in favor of the Kettleers.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day. Like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Welcome back to Falmouth. We begin the bottom of the 2nd inning. Commodores trailing by 2. Steven Moretto trying to do something about that. The third baseman from Sacramento State got the start in Game 1 at first. Now he's moved over to the other corner. First pitch he sees from the lefty Dante Williams is a fastball up and away. Never gave you the Cotuit defensive alignment. We'll have that for you with Williams throwing in to the catcher Cody Pasek. Ball number 2 now comes home. The outfield for Cotuit, Parker Chavers in left, Christian Robinson in center field, Robbie Martin out in right field. Infield has Matt Mervis at third, Oviedo at short, Gonzalez at second, and Mason McWhorter, that is such a tough name, at first. Ground ball right at Oviedo, takes a high hop, sprinkles out of his glove. The throw onto first, still in time.
Wow.
Quick throw from Oviedo after a bobble, and Moretto can't beat it out.
And that just speaks to his arm. He had a similar play to end the bottom of the 1st inning where he kind of bobbled the ball a little bit. Oh, it wasn't that he bobbled. He was trying to go back to second base at first, but Gonzalez wasn't there. So then he says, okay, I have to throw to first. He's got a cannon. I mean, he can get it over to first in a hurry.
Yeah, Moretto he's not a super slow guy, but they made him look slow just then.
And again, I think that's just Oviedo's skill.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler Ross watches a first pitch breaking ball for a strike. Ross was, I don't want to say the hero of yesterday's ball game, but he definitely did the Commodores a service. He pitched the final 2 innings of that darkness-shortened game and was the only pitcher for either side who was able to work a 1-2-3 inning, did it in both of those innings, faced the minimum through 2. Ended up getting the victory for Falmouth, and like you were saying yesterday, kept the momentum on the Commodores' side, came into the game when it was tied up at 4, worked a 1-2-3 inning, brought the Doors right back out on the up to the plate, and they were able to do damage.
I honestly think that first inning that he pitched in the bottom of the 6th was one of the most well-pitched innings I've seen all summer from any pitcher.
2-1, cut on and missed. So far, Dante Williams is pitching pretty well.
Because what he did in that inning, he went up against 9-1-2.
Yeah.
He struck out Gonzalez and Arajanu, 2 of the best hitters on the team, and on like 4 or 5 pitches.
In a tie game with darkness rapidly approaching.
Yep.
2-2 to Ross. Foul ball. Now he'll try to translate that success up to the plate. He's a two-way player from the University of Alabama, mostly used as a pitcher for the Crimson Tide in his freshman year there, through about 35 innings. For the Doors, he's batting .241. The 2-2. On the inside corner and at the knees, strike three called. It's the first K for Donta Williams, and there are 2 up and 2 down here in the second.
Now batting the second baseman from the University of Tennessee.
When I was doing my research on Williams and saw that he hadn't pitched in college, I thought, okay, this is going to be another Cody Pasek or Colton Kessler.
Right.
But he comes out and he looks good. I mean, the comparison that a couple people have made is he's kind of like the Austin Langworthy of the Kettleers, meaning he's usually an outfielder, doesn't really pitch that much. Langworthy's looked good, and so has Williams, so I like the comparison.
Well, Williams looks good, but now it's going to be he looked good, as there's going to be a new pitcher coming in, and the shuffling starts for the Cotuit Kettleers. It's going to be tough to keep up with, but I'm seeing it go down right now. McWhorter just moved from first base. He'll be moving to a different position. Looks like he's trotting out to left field as Andrew Check, the designated hitter, will step up to the mound, and he'll get his pitching debut. We'll head to a break as Mike Roberts is giving a long talk to the umpire just to educate him on what the heck is going on. We'll be right back.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Falmouth. First pitching change of the ball game will come with 2 outs in the second inning. It's Parker Chavers who's moving from left field onto the pitcher's mound for Cotuit. Andrew Check, the designated hitter, will jump at first base where Mason McWhorter was, and McWhorter will move to left field where Parker Chavers was.
Who's on first? What's on second?
Literally. That's how it's going to be about 2 or 3 innings from now, as we're expecting to see 2 more position players come in to pitch, and they're going to be coming from the field, not the bench.
Yeah.
So Chavers' first pitch of the summer, I believe, is a strike on the inside corner to Max Ferguson. Ferguson, his second game played, he went 0 for 2 with a walk in game 1. Here's the 0-1 to the lefty from Tennessee, upstairs for a ball.
Yep, Shavers from Coastal Carolina making his pitching debut on the summer. He's a pretty good hitter. .254 average with 30 hits, 8 doubles, 5 home runs.
He was an all-star, but that was at the plate. A little bit of a shift being put on against Ferguson as we saw in game 1, although Cotuit had never seen this guy because nobody had. Here's a line drive up the first base side, just foul. Looks like the Doors are out ahead of everything just because, as you'd expect, position players, not too many speedsters. 1-2 the count to Ferguson. The pitch misses down and in. Max, a rising sophomore at Tennessee, originally from Atlantic Beach, Florida. Hit .231 this past spring. 2-2 lined back.
Seeing the ball pretty well. Lining up a couple of these pitches, but just getting a little bit ahead of it or a little bit underneath.
The pitch.
There it
Fly
is.
ball into right field. That's sending Robbie Martin a ways back, but he will make the catch up and over his shoulder. Max Ferguson gave that one a ride, but he comes up empty, and the Doors go down in order 1-2-3. We'll head to the top of the third inning. Still 2-0 on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day. Like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. We offer over 400 different beverage choices on Cape Cod to quench every thirst, and more than 150 are low or no-calorie options.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Back underway from the Gov. Top of the third about to come your way. It'll be the heart of the order for Cotuit, still against Chris Gonzalez, who has thrown all of 26 pitches through 2 innings. Danny LaRose joined alongside David Korzenowski on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. Thank you for spending your Wednesday evening with us on this final day of July and what was slated to be the final game. But instead, thanks to rainouts, the Doors have had to make their final day a doubleheader and push it back to tomorrow as they'll be facing on the Gateman for Game 44. First pitch on the just off the outside corner. Ball, says Tim Carey.
Jack got a single his first AB on the second pitch. It's into the gap in right center.
That was his first hit of the summer and only his second game played. His first game played was just a couple of hours ago. He went 0 for 4 in Game 1 with a couple of strikeouts against him. Here's a high chop onto first base. Jackson Coots will field it himself. Step on the bag. 3 unassisted to start us off in the third.
Similar to the ground ball that Parker Shavers had for the first out of the first inning. And Gonzalez, again, really not missing much of a beat, except against Gonzalez, who's 2 for 2. But besides Gonzalez, he's retired 6 of the last 7 batters.
Robbie Martin, the right fielder, who's 0 for 1 after reaching on an error, now up to the dish. First pitch from Gonzalez is roped back through the middle. That is the 5th hit for Robbie Martin on the summer, and his first against the Commodores.
Yeah, he reached on that weird error from Jackson Coots, who fielded it at first and tried to throw on to Kevin Kendall to start a double play. But then he gets a base knock right up the middle, and we know that Chris Gonzalez's velocity is down a little bit compared to some of the other pitchers for Falmouth. And clearly Cotuit taking advantage of that.
So 1 out and a runner on first, and it's rare that we see a pitcher get in at bat, but Parker Shavers started out in left field. Now he is the pitcher, and he'll stay at the same batting spot at the 5-hole. Ground ball through the right side into right field. That's going to be a single for Shavers, who broke his bat on the way, but he'll take it. First and second on for Cotuit.
Radcliffe caught a break too. Martin not with a ton of speed. He was rounding second base, and Radcliffe couldn't pick that ball up at first. He grabbed it with his glove, but then picked it up too soon. It was straying on the grass, but Martin knew that he didn't have enough speed to make it over to third, so he stayed put anyways.
Christian Robinson will now be the hitter. Hitless in yesterday's ball game. Makes him 1 for his last 22. That's over a 7-game span. Today he's 0 for 1 with a flyout. First pitch, big hook at 70 miles an hour for a strike. Maybe the slowest curve we've seen from Gonzalez all summer. Chris, a lefty out of Stetson University. Facing the lefty from Stanford. A couple of guys from opposite coasts. The 0-1. Bounces out of the glove of Claunch. He got to it in the nick of time, and Robbie Martin, like you said, not a lot of speed, wasn't going to threaten for third.
And Cotuit now with the lead. They don't really have to push for much, so no reason to test your luck there.
Kettleers only leading by 2. We saw them with a couple of 2-run leads in yesterday's ball game, but it was the Doors who came out on top, winning by what else but 2, 6-4. The 1-1 just misses down and in.
And I've made the point before, but I'll make it again. They won another close game yesterday. Their 18th save as a team of the year. And I think in close games in the playoffs, that is going to serve them extremely well.
Yes.
Because literally 2/3 of their wins have been by 3 runs or less.
2-1 misses low. 3-1 now the count. As Gonzalez starting to throw a little bit more outside as the game goes on. He has not walked a batter yet. Has not faced too many 3-ball counts either, but he's in trouble right here with runners on first and second. 1 out and a 3-1 count. Ball 4 misses below the knees. A 5-pitch walk to Christian Robinson loads up the bases.
Now batting their shortstop from Texas.
And still just 1 out.
Number 6, Adam Oviedo.
Bottom of the order struggled a little bit first time through for Gonzalez, but we know earlier in the season, hasn't been as much of a problem recently, but he said the second time through the order was a lot tougher for him.
He's got a double play in order still, so the inning could end on a ground ball with Adam Oviedo at the dish. He flew out to right to end the first inning. First pitch to the righty, another breaking ball that's taken too far inside. A lot of curveballs being called by Claunch behind the plate. Right now, Gonzalez can't place his fastballs or his breaking pitches over the strike zone too much. Infield is back at double play depth. Nobody holding on anybody. Here's a ground ball to third. This could be 2. Moretto on to second for 1. Ferguson's relay to first is an errant throw, and Coots couldn't get the tag onto Oviedo's shoulder in time. A run will score on the fielder's choice. Would have been 2, but Ferguson's throw was a little bit up the line. So Oviedo will take first base. He'll get an RBI. And now Pasek will have a chance.
And that looked like almost a tailor-made double play. It was a hard hit ball. Moretto fielded it quickly onto Ferguson. Just that throw from second to first, not as crisp as Ferguson wanted.
First pitch to the catcher, Cody Pasek, taken a little bit outside. Ruled an E4, so if that sticks, it's officially 3 errors for the Commodores in only 2 2/3 innings. Pickoff move over to first, but nothing doing. Pasek is 0 for 1. He sent a drive into center field back in the second inning, but came up just a little short of getting a home run. Blake Dunn was able to flag it down right in front of the wall. Here's the 2-0. Breaking ball on the outside corner for a strike.
That's a big strike. He needed that one over the plate. A little bit of a get-me-over pitch from Gonzalez.
Two and 1 to the catcher from the University of Maine, batting .212 on the summer. Just misses with that pitch. Seen that called a couple of times for strikes in this game, but not that time. 3 runs home on 6 hits for the Kettleers. No runs across for the Doors on only 1 hit. Here's the 3-1. Fly ball into left field. This might get down fair, and it will not. It dives just a couple of feet to the left of the foul line.
Now the second inning in which Gonzalez has faced 6 or more batters.
Arguably should be out of these innings without letting runs across. It was the first inning that a throwing error prevented a double play from occurring, and then here in the third inning, another throwing error prevented a double play from being completed. Oviedo, the recipient of that stance, on first, with Chavers on third. Full count to Pasek. He's going to have to wait as Gonzalez is going to keep the man at first honest. Correction, 2-2 count to Cody Pasek. He's made good contact so far in this at-bat, couldn't get it squared. Made good contact his first at bat, but went into the glove of Dunn. The pitch, breaking ball that does not break as it stays up and in.
Gonzalez really trying to get through this third inning of work. As I mentioned, they probably wouldn't use him as a starter in the first round of the playoffs, but you might see some of those traditional starters in a bullpen role.
3-2 is popped up into shallow right field. Ferguson is going to call for it. He's going to make the catch about a foot onto the outfield grass. 1 run comes home on 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left on base in the third. Sloppy game so far has the Commodores down 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the third.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Welcome back to Gov Fuller Field as the home third about to get underway. The Commodores have not yet batted through the lineup completely. That will be accomplished in this inning with Kevin Kendall, the 9-hitter, leading off. Cotuit, on the other hand, their 9-hitter McWhorter has already gotten 1 at bat, and he'll be leading off the next inning. The Doors, part of that reason why they haven't had as many at bats, they were put down in order in the second inning, partially by Donta Williams, partially by Parker Chavers, who remains on the mound. His first pitch, bunt shown by Kendall perfectly up the third base line, and Cotuit's not even going to try. That's an easy single for Kevin.
One of the best bunts we've seen all summer. Also, I believe Cotuit was shifting on him.
Of course they were.
They were shifting on the lefty. They've done it with pretty much every lefty in this lineup through games 1 and 2. Mervis, a little bit too far away from third base. Kevin Kendall's already one of the faster guys on this team. Lays down a beautiful bunt.
And Kendall's biggest advantage is he's probably the guy who can consistently lay down the best bunts. First pitch swinging is Langworthy, but he swings right through an 80-mile-an-hour pitch down Broadway. Because Kendall, he doesn't have the speed of a guy like Dunn or a Cantrell, but he can place those bunts better than anybody.
And I think he is sneaky close to those guys. He doesn't try to steal as many bases, but he is quick. He's definitely quick.
Shavers taking note of that as he checks on the man at first. Here's the 0-1 to Langworthy, fouled away up and above the third base dugout.
I also think part of the reason you don't see Kevin Kendall with the same stolen base numbers, he's not batting in the top of the order. He's not on base as much. And Cantrell and Dunn, when they get on base, they really try to get things going. When Kendall's on base, it's usually not the same situation.
Kevin 2 for 4 in stolen bases on the summer. Here's another foul ball off the bat of Langworthy. A couple of these real slow meatballs coming across on the middle of the plate, but he just can't square them up. I'm surprised that the Doors haven't been trying to steal more with the pitchers that they're throwing at, an average of 80 miles an hour. You can take a base easily. 0-2, again fouled back.
I think that's the classiness of Jeff Trundy.
I think so too.
Because you see it in a blowout game, right? Say it's 10-0. It's considered distasteful to lay down a bunt or steal a base. Same sort of thing when you've locked up first place in the West. If you're stealing wild on these guys, not a great look.
Here's the 0-2 again to Langworthy. Skips away. Kendall is going to take second base on that one. Might be even more classless to not try to take second base when you're practically given it. So
I mean,
he'll take it.
it's a fine line, right? You still have to play the game. You can't not advance out of pity, right? But it's a matter of like pushing your luck and trying to, I don't know, lay down a safety squeeze on like first and third with one out.
1-2 is a crack shot into right field. It's going to get down in front of Robbie Martin. Kendall had to hold up at second just in case it was caught, so he'll take third base and stay there. But Langworthy sounded like his bat broke, still gets the hit.
If that thing stayed together, it would have been a deep fly ball to deep right field. Possibly could have gotten out of here, but just shows the amount of power that Langworthy had on that swing. The fact that it was a broken bat and still got into pretty decent depth and right.
2 on and nobody out for Blake Dunn, who grounded out into a 4-6-3 double play back in the first. Commodores trailing by 3. Now with 3 hits. First pitch to Dunn. Swings at an up and away fastball and comes up empty.
Worcester's on the mound right now in the bullpen. You're probably going to see him in the 4th inning.
The 0-1 to Dunn misses outside. Blake walked a couple of times in game 1 of this doubleheader. Those were his first walks in the last 7 games. Leads the team in walks at 21, but has not gotten on base as much as he's swinging the bat more. 1-1 just barely glances off the outside black. Dunn entered today 6 for his last 16. Tagged a double in the 4th inning of game 1. The 1-2. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Looked like a slider from Parker Chavers as he racks up a K.
Not a great at-bat from Dunn. You can tell with nobody out and runners on first and third, he wanted to make contact, wanted to get a hit, and went chasing at a couple pitches that he probably knows he shouldn't have.
Jackson Coots, who got the doors rolling with their first hit of the ball game, will now try to follow it up. It was a single into the opposite field with 2 outs in the first. He was stranded at second. First pitch to Jackson is up and in for ball 1. Coots, who so often swings early in counts, with a batting average that is surging, just about 20 points under 300. He's got 10 RBIs on the summer as well. The 1-0 up the first base line. That's a foul ball. Oh, my. Looked like it was tucked a good 2 feet inside the first base line, but first base umpire Larry Rosenberg says no dice. Jackson's robbed of a hit.
Dang, that's tough. Claunch was already in the batter's box on the right-hand side, and then he walks all the way back.
I mean, that thing, from our vantage point, was pretty obviously a fair ball, but we'll see if Jackson can try to do it again. Here's the 1-1. Chopped foul. Like I did in game 1, I'm going to bring up the replay. I'm going to check this out, do some sleuthing. Jackson Coots, a 2018 Cape Cod champion with the Wareham Gatemen. Now a Commodore chops one up towards the first base side. That one will get into the outfield for a hit. Definitely a fair ball. Langworthy's going to go first into third, and scoring the first run of the game for the Commodores is Kevin Kendall. Make it 3-1.
2 for 2 is Jackson Coots, and then he takes what might have been a frustrating pitch that was down the first base line and says, all right, I'll just do it again. Puts it in the gap right past Nick Gonzalez, who had his outstretched glove but couldn't get there. And he gets the same result, scores a run, and moves Langworthy all the way over to third base.
Troy Claunch will now come up to the plate. Runners again on the corner, still 1 out. He watches a first pitch dive just outside. A ball and no strikes to Claunch. That one misses outside. Great backhanded pick by Pasek to make sure that Langworthy couldn't come home. If that gets behind him, that's an easy second run. The Doors with 1 run on 3 hits in this inning. Still only 1 out. Chavers is 2-0. Outside for ball 3.
Right now, the Doors can really pour it on here with still just 1 out in the 3rd inning.
Claunch has the red light on 3-0 and watches a pitch go outside on the outside corner for a strike. The 3-1 outside for ball 4. A 5-pitch walk worked by Troy Claunch, and the bases will be loaded for big bad Baron Radcliffe.
Got to be really careful here if you're Shavers, and Pasek knows the same thing. He comes out to the mound to talk to his pitcher.
Quick meeting between the catcher and the outfielder turned pitcher. All of a sudden, the tying run stands on second base for Falmouth. Go-ahead run on first, and the team leader in home runs, Baron Radcliffe, at the dish. First pitch to the lefty from Georgia Tech is a inside strike, 0-1. Baron has a grand slam on the summer. It came out at Chatham. Second pitch of the AB misses up and away.
He's going to try to keep it off speed so that Radcliffe can't get something in his wheelhouse and put a big drive on it.
One misses high. This is something we saw from Cotuit in game 1. They walked a run in with the bases loaded. Shavers struggling with balls right now. The pitch swung on and missed. Barron went down and at that pitch around his shoelaces but couldn't make contact.
Yeah, and again, I think he, kind of like Blake Dunn, is eager to get a hit here. Just got to shorten your swing. Try not to do too much.
The pitch up and in. Another ball. Full count to Radcliffe, who's got 6 home runs and 22 RBIs on the summer, a batting average just a couple points below 250. Payoff pitch. High drive into shallow left field. He tosses the bat down in disgust as Adam Oviedo will make the catch. Infield fly rule in effect anyway. 2 outs.
Yeah, Radcliffe was really disappointed with himself there. He spiked the bat over his helmet and threw it. Slow walk back to the dugout.
So 2 outs and the bases juiced for Steven Moretto, who grounded out to short to start off the second inning in his lone at bat. Watches a pitch dive just below the knees. Parker Chavers came on halfway through the second inning. Got the final out he needed and has found trouble here in the third. Swing and a miss on a pitch a little outside. A ball and a strike now. Langworthy stands on third. Coots on second. Troy Claunch at first. Here's the 1-1. Line drive into right center field. Robinson gives chase, and he will track it down for the final out of the bottom of the third inning. The Doors put on a lot of pressure in this half inning, but they come away with only 1 run on 3 hits, all of them singles. No errors against Cotuit, and 3 runners left on base as we bring it back into the broadcast booth. David, that was a close one. We got the screenshot of it again.
It was, but
the Jackson Coots
the thing is, it doesn't matter in this case because it was still a single nonetheless. So control what you can control, and the Doors score 1 run.
Still a single for Jackson, still a run for the Commodores, and it's about time we welcome in the third member of our broadcast team, Katie Florio, who's joined alongside Coach Jeff Trundy. Katie.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. And, Coach, we are down to the final few games of regular season, but we know no matter what, this team is finishing with the best record in the league. How much of a difference does home field advantage through all of the rounds make?
Well, I think it always makes the kids more comfortable to know that you're going to play at home. And they've worked hard for it, so it's a nice reward. But, hey, we'll see what happens moving forward. But, as always, just keep having fun and competing and enjoying each day with each other.
With a doubleheader today and then being one of only 2 teams playing tomorrow, what's the strategy to be as fresh as possible for playoffs on Friday?
Well, we're doing our best, once again, to just, try to get through this thing. I mean, to me, honestly, they've just been incredible. These guys have been amazing in regards to how they've handled this whole thing. Never any complaints. They just come to the yard and have a lot of fun. And, I guess one more day is not going to hurt us, So we'll look forward to playing tomorrow and spending some more time together before we get to the playoffs.
Thank you, Coach. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you, head coach Trundy. As I really have one takeaway from that, and it's how he said, just keep enjoying the time you guys have together. It reminds me of what Michigan head coach said to his team as they were going into Omaha, and people were like, how are they putting together this great run? One thing he said was that he told his guys, play like you don't want to say goodbye.
Right.
And that's the way the Commodores are right now, because a goodbye is awaiting in just under 2 weeks, but as of right now, they're not letting it come any sooner.
I mean, hypothetically, this season could be over on Saturday. And I know that the Commodores don't think it will be. A lot of us don't think it will be either because of how talented this team has been and how great they have really been performing. But it's possible. And the Doors don't want it to end that soon. So if they don't want it to end that soon, they got to win. And they got to win 6 more games after this regular season is over and hopefully come away with their first championship since 1980.
Caleb Worster is now going to enter onto the mound for the Commodores as that push towards the first championship since 1980 will begin, on Friday. As of right now, just kind of settling these last couple of games, like Coach Trundy was saying, kind of gave a laugh about it and was like, well, you know what? It's just stuff we got to get through before the real fun begins.
I love the Trundy chuckle. It's one of my favorites because you know that he knows that this season has been tough with all the rainouts and, some of the unexpected curveballs, you could say, that have come their way, but the team has handled it masterfully. And the fact that they have gone through this stretch in late July, 14-1-1 in their last 16, is a testament to them as a team, to them as players, and hopefully we'll keep going throughout the next week.
First 2 pitchers of Caleb Worster's 11th appearance of the summer are both balls outside. Mason McWhorter, the 9-hitter, leading off for Cotuit. Worster, a lefty from Yukon. Rising junior, originally from Coventry, Rhode Island, fires a 2-0 that's clapped foul. Two 2-1 the count to Mason, who popped out to short back in the second inning in his lone AB. Worster, a 2-2 record, 3.68 ERA on the summer. Misses outside again. Looks like he's gripping these a little too tightly. That's what I would guess. I'm no pitcher.
Just looks a little wild right now. Sometimes takes these guys a little bit to settle in once they're on the mound.
He only has 4 walks allowed on the summer, 1 in each of his last 2 appearances. Caleb's 3-1. Ground ball into the hole, into right field, a base hit for McWhorter. So it's not a walk, but it's just the same effect. A runner will be on first to lead off the inning.
We saw Worster get into a jam back in Orleans, and he worked out of it unbelievably in a 2-1 ball game. Literally had no room to put anyone else on base or across the plate, and he buckled down. Faced a little bit more trouble against Bourne his last time out. 2 innings of work, 3 earned runs on 4 hits.
That was on July 28th, a 5-3 loss to the Braves. Only time this team has lost in about 2 weeks. Here's a long drive from Nick Gonzalez into center field, but it will stay in the ballpark as Blake Dunn will settle underneath it, and Gonzalez goes down for the first time in this ballgame.
He put a drive into that thing, deepest part of the park, and it still almost snuck out. 7 home runs for Gonzalez, a leadoff man with a ton of power. First in the team in home runs.
1 out and a runner on first for Matt Mervis. He singled and scored a run his first time up, then flew out to center. The Duke Blue Devil batting a couple points over 300. First pitch of his third AB is clubbed into deep right field, and Radcliffe is just going to watch this one go. Matt Mervis with a 2-run home run. It's his second in as many days, and the Kettleers jump out to a 5-1 lead.
Man, Mervis has a ton of power. 2 home runs in as many days now for the left-handed bat from Duke. And both of those home runs, the one yesterday and the one just now, got out in a hurry. I mean, that ball was out of here in about 2-3 seconds. Just absolutely crushes these baseballs.
So Worcester allows a couple hits and a couple runs to come across home plate as his ERA will take a little bit of a jump.
The thing about Worcester is he does give up hits. Even in some of his better outings of the year as a strike comes in to Andrew Check. I'm thinking specifically against Wareham. 2 2/3. He gives up a run, but it's unearned. Still gives up 6 base knocks. I mean, his opponent batting average is right around 300. So he does give up some contact. It's just he's been able to limit the damage so far this season. But now, in his past just under 4 innings of work, he's given up 6 runs.
He's also got a whip up at 1.50 now. The 1-1 to Andrew Check misses outside. Getting himself behind in a couple of counts as well. Saw Mason McWhorter get ahead 3-1, and Check is ahead 2-1. Bunch of lefties in this Cotuit lineup. So far, only lefties on the hill for Falmouth. Ground ball right at Ferguson. This should be the second out of the inning, and it is an easy 4-3 putout.
Now batting the right fielder from Florida State University, number 29, Robert Martin.
One thing about the Commodores that was so locked down in the 11-game winning streak was the bullpen. I mean, literally every bullpen arm was unbelievable, was locked down. When the Commodores had a 1, 2, 3-run lead, they didn't give an inch. Seen a little bit of cracks these past couple games. Nothing too crazy, but it's also hard to sustain that for, 20 games.
And this is a really solid Cotuit team.
Yeah, no question.
This is a Cotuit team that hits home runs like it's nobody's business. 1-0 now the count to Martin, who's 1 for 2. Singled and scored in his last time up. He chops one over at Ferguson. He'll get another chance, and he'll throw out the base runner. Back-to-back 4-3 putouts to retire the side. But the Kettleers tack on 2 more with a big home run from Matt Mervis. 2 hits for Cotuit on the inning. No errors against the Commodores, and nobody left on base. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. It's now 5-1 in favor of the Kettleers.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more. Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Bottom 4 at Gov Fuller Field, and another position player will take the hill for the Cotuit Kettleers. It's going to be Cameron Hill, a guy who has not pitched at all this summer. Cam Hill got the starts in the last couple of games. Those were in the field. He was in center field last night at Cotuit. Had a single in that game. He was in right field in game 1. Reached base a couple of times. Hit by pitch and an error. Now he'll be doing the pitching for Mike Roberts' squad.
Yeah, sorry for the delay on that, but we got some more weird changes. So Shavers is back out in left. McWhorter is back at first. Hill is on the mound, so that means that the DH and first baseman Check is now out of the game. So Hill will be batting in the 3 spot.
And we've got another guy pitching like Colton Kessler from game 1, just kind of rearing back and lobbing
Rearing
it
back?
in. Well, rearing back because he's turning his body 45 degrees, but then lobbing it in like he's throwing to a toddler. 76 miles an hour, not necessarily what you would want to throw at a toddler, but it still is a ball, and Ross is facing a 1-1 count. The pitch to the switch hitter, who batted right his first time up, now left, is a foul ball. He struck out looking back in the second. That's one of 2 strikeouts against this Doors club, who have now faced 3 separate pitchers, none of whom are actual pitchers.
Yep.
The 1-2, the other way into left field, but it's going to drift amongst the fans and foul.
A couple fans nearly getting killed out in left field. We know that it's not like a minor or major league ballpark. Fans can kind of stray, and there's no like gate that sort of fences off the field, really. I mean, a little bit down the first base side.
1-2 to Tyler. On the inside corner, strike 3 called. Ross not happy with it, was about 3 feet inside, but he's punched out.
Second looking strikeout for Ross. He struck out back in the second inning.
Max Ferguson will now come up to the plate. He made solid contact back in the second, but flew out. That one paints the outside corner at the knees for a strike. For all that we said about Cam Hill just kind of lobbing it in, he is throwing strikes.
Yeah.
0-1 pushed into left center field. That's good for a base hit. It's Ferguson's first as a Door.
There we go. 0 for his first 4 at the plate. Flies out to right field to start off game number 2, and then pokes a single into the gap. They were also shifting him heavy, and don't think that Oviedo would have been able to make the play at short, but still a good piece of contact into left field.
Runner on first and 1 out.
Look at how far in Mervis is playing.
He's expecting a bunt. This has become like a, as strike number 1 comes in, this has become like a slow pitch softball game, honestly, the way that Mike Roberts is shuffling his guys around. Just kind of having fun with it. Mervis expecting another bunt from Kendall, who reached first on a bunt single his first time up. 0-1 skips too far inside. Ferguson's going to take second base on the wild pitch.
Door's still very much in this thing. I know the game doesn't mean a lot, but with Hill on the mound and maybe another position player going, I'm not sure who they'd be looking to, but oh my goodness. You know who's getting loose?
Who?
Andrew Check, the first baseman in DH.
This one is off of Kendall's front leg, so it will be ruled a foul ball.
But what I was going to say, you know, with all these position players pitching, it's not hard for the Doors to put up a 4 or 5 spot in a certain inning. Could still very much happen.
They do trail by 4, but again, like you said, might get batting practice sometime soon if they can just sit back far enough and make solid contact. Ferguson being held on at second by Oviedo. Here's a slap shot towards left field and well out of play. Kendall will stay alive at 1 and 2. Kevin, a shortstop from UCLA, came into the ball game batting 181. He played in game 1 and reached twice, both times with walks. Here's the pitch. Ground ball towards the left side. Oviedo's going to field it. Not have a chance at Ferguson at third, but he will throw to first for the second out of the inning.
Now batting the left fielder from Holy Cross, number 8, Austin Maisel.
Maisel comes in for Langworthy in the leadoff spot. And he made some great contact in game 1. Was robbed of a second home run, had his first home run, and a double in innings 1 and 4.
He's been swinging a great bat, especially today. First pitch to the lefty from Holy Cross comes over the outside portion of the plate for a strike. Langworthy was 1 for 1 with a walk and a single. Never came around to score, and his day will be done. Was a pitcher in game 1, closed out the game, and started today at left field. Maisel replacing him here in the 4th. And only a few more innings to be played. This one a 7-inning ball game, due to it being the second game of a doubleheader.
Yeah, so 3 straight 7-inning games between Cotuit and Falmouth.
0-1 misses low. Asterisk. Yesterday was 7.5 innings.
Top didn't count.
Apparently it did. The stats were still
Was
up
it
on
still
point
there?
streak. So unfortunately for Steven Moretto, who I was talking to after the game, it's still a strikeout recorded against him, even though he couldn't see the baseball. Here's a ground ball over towards second. Gonzalez fields it on a run, throws onto first for the 3rd and final out. That will do it for the 4th inning from Falmouth. The Doors score no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and they strand a runner at third base. We'll head to the top of the 5th. 5-1 in favor of Cotuit on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day, like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. We offer over 400 different beverage choices on Cape Cod to quench every thirst, and more than 150 are low or no-calorie options.
First pitch of the 5th inning settled in for a strike. Second pitch is a ball. As we give you a little glimpse into the broadcast booth, Danny LaRose alongside David Korzanowski. In between us, Zach Deloach. Zach, you are the first position player we are bringing into the booth all summer long.
In 2 summers. You got to get this mic closer to you. This is the number one mistake that everyone makes.
Oh, well,
Leave
that's
the
why
mic
I got
too
y'all,
far.
right?
There we go, yeah.
That's why you do the hitting.
Hey, that's why I play baseball, right? I don't come up here and do interviews and talk like you guys do.
2-1 now the count to the leadoff man, Parker Chavers. Reason we bring in Zach up because you started out this game despite not playing in it, the Cape leader in average, and Nick Gonzalez has just taking it right back.
You know, he's a great player. I mean, you watch him, his presence in the box and just everything that he's done up to this point. I mean, he's definitely the best hitter in the Cape, if I ever say so myself. And
wow. Humble man.
Yeah, I mean, well, he deserves it though. I mean, you look at his stats and what the stuff that he's done here, and also just what the numbers he put up at New Mexico State. I mean, he's definitely made a case known for him, and I think he's going to be a high draft pick come this next summer.
2-2, a flare shot into shallow left field, settles in for a hit for Chavers. Zach is a rising junior at Texas A&M. A batting average of, 347 now?
He's up to 352.
352 after going 2 for 4 in game 1. And the thing about you that most impresses myself, and I think David can attest to this as well, is just how consistent you are. You're not the type of guy who goes, 3-hit games galore for a week and then goes into a slump for a while. It just seems like every game you're getting on base, a lot like a guy like Gonzalez.
Right. And I think, part of that is just, me trying to be consistent, just trying to maintain, what I've done up to this point and just continue to work in the cages, continue to prepare the right way. And, I think a lot of guys on our team do the same thing. We like to get in the cages. We're cage rats, and we like to hit around a little bit and just have fun whenever the game time rolls around.
Cage rats, I like that term.
Yeah,
I haven't heard
me
that
too.
one before. How has the summer been for you? Obviously, statistically you're putting up great numbers, but talk to us a little bit more about your experience as a whole.
Yeah, I think off the field, I have a great host family that's Zamudas. Living with the commissioner.
It's not bad.
not a bad thing.
So that's why you're leading the Cape League.
No, but they're great people. I mean, they're really fun to be around, and they cook us dinner. They make make meals for us, and being with Tim Tawa, Christian Edwards, and now Kenny. I think we're we got a solid group of guys coming through the house, and just we're always in our routines of getting up in the morning and making sure that we're taking care, and they take great care of us, and just being able to have such great host families here that can provide homes for us during the summer. I think that's just such a huge part of the Cape and of every summer ball team around the country. So. But no, the beaches were awesome.
Yeah.
Just being able to do all the fun activities around here. The weather you can't beat. Being from Texas, I enjoy this weather a lot more.
Sure.
So.
3-0 fastball misses well outside. First two runners reach on base against Worcester in the fifth. That's going to warrant a visit from pitching coach Mike Landry. Now, I have a question that's been burning a hole in my mind. Is how does a guy, like yourself at Texas A&M, where you're batting right around, 215 is what you finished with, and then just a month later, you pick up a wood bat, you're facing, arguably even better pitching than you do in the SEC, which is already one of the toughest baseball conferences, and you're putting together the summer of a lifetime.
Right.
I mean, how does that happen? How do you make that change, and what do you think it was?
I think it was just more just trying to simplify everything. I think, in my head, I had so many things going through my head that I wasn't just trying to hone in on one specific thing. And so I think, the way my mind works and the way I work is like I try to do something and not let it clutter my mind. So I try to do one thing at a time, and I think being able to do that and just being able to slow the game down has helped me tremendously. And I think being able to also come on with the confidence that I've had, has led me to the success. And the period where we had 5 to 6 rainouts in a row is really where I started to get more comfortable with my swing and started to get more comfortable with just how I wanted to handle myself here and how I wanted to hit, and just being able to consistently do that and continue to do that, and play every day like it's my last. I mean, that's really been the main focuses have been here.
So after that mound meeting, Oviedo's up at the plate.
Oviedo, a transfer from TCU, will swing at the first pitch. Miss.
One thing I was going to ask you, I talked to Ryan Eiley almost a month ago now.
Okay.
And he talked about how Brett Becker changed his swing and his approach and led him to so much more offensive success because Brett Becker was Eiley's summer ball coach as well. What was your process like with Brett Becker? And Eiley mentioned something to me about a toe tap, and was that something you added to your swing?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So something new that actually Brett brought up, and he saw me swinging in the cage, and I told him what I wanted to work on, and he's like, have you ever tried a toe tap? And I said, no, I've seen guys do it, but I just never felt comfortable with it, and said, okay, well, let's try it. Let's, see, do it for a couple of days, and if it still feels uncomfortable, we can go back to it. Well, I just stuck with it, and, over time, I think obviously with new habits, it's going to get you have to get used to them, and just being able to, do that and do it every day for that period of time where we had rainouts. That's what really got me the most.
Are you still using it?
Oh yeah.
You think you'll bring it back to school and everything?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna bring it back to school. Don't worry. I'm already on board with our new hitting coach, Coach Kaya from Southern Miss. I've talked to him once, and then Coach Seeley, our recruiting coordinator and outfield coach. And,
Sweet.
So yeah, it's gonna be a team effort, and just being able to let them keep me accountable and making sure that I'm continuing to find that success and being able to stay a good hitter.
Sweet.
Well, I kind of noticed the toe. I guess maybe it's the toe tap at the time and going down, because it seems like what you've been able to do over this entire summer is you're spraying all parts of the field so well, and it's almost like you know where the pitch is going and exactly where you need to place it, almost like that Tony Gwynn hitting, where if they give him a hole through the left side, he's going to perfectly place it through that hole. And that's something you did yesterday on your RBI single. Cotuit brought the infield in. As this is a shot into right field. Oviedo's going to get it down inside the foul line into right. Coming around to score one is Chavers. Right behind him, and crossing home plate for a second run is Robinson. It's a 2-run double off the bat of Adam Oviedo to make it 7-1 in favor of Cotuit. But as I was saying, and you just put one right over the shortstop's head, pretty much. And I saw it coming. I said on the broadcast, with a guy like Deloach, you could spray the parts of the field, and you give him an inch, he'll take a mile because of the way he's able to, situational hitting and the like. And it seems like the timing is definitely.
Right.
And you saw that coming. It was a 2-strike pitch, and you're still able to do it. Just the confidence. Really
Yeah,
emanated.
I mean, going back to the stuff that we work on in the cage, with just me and Coach Becker and a couple of other guys. I mean, what we work on is making sure that I'm staying balanced at the plate and I'm not getting out front, especially on the slower pitching. See, we faced, obviously slower pitching yesterday as well as today in the first game and in the second game.
Yeah.
And so I think just the importance of staying in an at-bat and being able to stay confident in an at-bat and just making sure that, because I've thought of myself as always having a good eye for the baseball, good feeling for the strike zone as well. So I think that part, I just kind of let that take care of itself and more working on, making sure I'm getting to the right contact points and making sure that I'm covering all sides of the plate.
0-1 to Kettleers, bounce towards second. That's Ferguson with another putout. First out of the 5th inning as Oviedo will advance to third.
We've had the privilege of meeting a lot of your family. Your family has been up quite a bit this summer.
Majority of my family, actually all my family has been up here.
I was just going to ask, so what has that been like for them to make the trip up? And what have you done with them to sort of show them around a little bit?
No, I mean, my cousin, my aunt, her husband, and then my uncle, they were all here in the first, I think it was July 4th weekend.
Yeah,
that was like the first kind of round of my
first round.
First round. They try to spread it out. My dad wanted to make sure that everyone got a chance to kind of spend time with me and all that stuff. So, but no, it was great. They had a great time. They were only here for about 2 to 3 days. I mean, they spent the entire week, and they went up to Boston, then Rhode Island, I think, and then a couple other places. So, but no, it was great to see them. It was great to catch up and see them in the Cape, and just to see some familiar faces for the first time in I think about 2 weeks. So.
And then we met your grandparents last night.
Yes, yeah. So my dad's side, my dad's parents, they are here. Clyde and Becca Deloach. I think they're sitting over there in the corner, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know, but they're somewhere around here, but yeah, so then my parents came around mid-July, stayed for about a week with my mom's side, so mom's parents, and then, but no, it's been great. I mean, I've taken them to all the popular restaurants in downtown Falmouth, taken them to the beaches, just driving around, all the scenery, the lighthouse. I mean, all the great stuff around Falmouth, and they've also gone to a few away games too, like in Hyannis or Cotuit or. Even Yarmouth Dennis. I mean, that's kind of a far drive out there. My parents were going to stay for the All-Star game, but they had to do some stuff at home. But
0-2 breaking ball results in a looking strikeout against Mason McWhorter as Nick Gonzalez, speaking of the devil, comes up to the plate and fouls one away.
Yeah, great hitter. Watch, he's gonna.
What I was going to say, because you guys are two of the best hitters in the Cape. What do you see in him? I guess.
Okay, so watch how he gets in the box. He knows what is coming, basically. I mean, he basically, he's so balanced at the plate. If he just stays back, he's going to hit the ball.
Stays back, but a little bit too far on it as he fouls one away.
It's fine. He's a really good 2-strike hitter too. I mean, he doesn't give up.
That's what I was saying to David. It seems like I've never seen someone who every single time they come up to the plate, they have
got a swagger about him.
A better chance than not of getting a hit, and he knows it.
Like I was a pitcher in high school, and if I saw a guy like him that was ultra aggressive, hit anything at any point in the time, and could hit it hard anywhere on the field, those are the most dangerous hitters in baseball.
And you know what? That's what I see in you as well, because I'll bring it back to yesterday's swing where there's 2 strikes against you. They bring the infield in, and it's almost like you were the Terminator, knew exactly what you were going to do with the pitch and put it in the exact spot. Swing and a miss.
Good pitch.
A 3-pitch strikeout for Caleb Worcester against the best hitter on the Cape, according to Zach Deloach, Nick Gonzalez. And the Cotuit Kettleers score 2 runs on 2 hits, no errors against the doors, and a runner left on third base. Zach, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, this was great.
For having me.
Best of luck the rest of the year.
Sir.
Zach Deloach, everybody. We'll be right back.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Welcome back into the press box at Gov Fuller Field. We've got Trey Cruz joining us. Trey, push in a little bit.
Scooch on it.
Let all the ladies see your face. Danny LaRose, David Korzenowski, Trey in between us. The jack of all trades says, here's a first pitch swing from Blake Dunn that's boomed out into left field. That one will be recorded for an out. One up, one down.
Trey, first question I want to ask is about you at Rice.
Okay.
A lot of family that's gone there. Can you talk about growing up with your grandfather and father, both of whom had great careers, and sort of your process going to Rice?
I mean, you could say I've been brainwashed at a very young age to go to Rice. Both my uncle and my dad went to Rice, and obviously I grew up a Rice fan. Watched my uncle play there, and I loved it. Obviously, I love Coach Graham, and he was the guy who recruited me, and he coached both my dad and my uncle and my freshman year there. And I love Rice. I love Houston location, and it was a smart school. I wanted to go to the best baseball and academic school I could.
Yeah.
So.
What do you study at Rice?
Sports management and business.
Okay, gotcha. Double guy.
Yep.
Trey Cruz is call him the jack of all trades because you play a little bit of short, play a little bit of third for the Commodores, but you did not play a lot of third, if any, at school before this summer.
You did not.
And then becomes an all-star. But you look so just clean at that position because some of those plays that you make, you look so flashy and nonchalant.
I try.
What was that adjustment like?
It was weird. I mean, I was talking to Steven Moretto a lot just about where to position myself because I just felt so lost. Like, what am I doing? Where am I supposed to play? I felt so in. So
1-2 is crushed into right field. That one's going to go off the wall. Jackson Coots looking for two. Here's a strong throw into second, but Jackson's going to slide in just safe of the tag. It's a one-out double off the bat of the three-hitter.
How about Coots? Two singles and a double today.
Gotta hit the weight room a little bit.
So you're talking to Steven about
so
third.
yeah, I was talking to Steven about third, and I look at him almost every other pitch about where am I playing two in, am I playing two back, all that, and I mean after a couple times working with him at there, I kind of got a feel for it, and I mean like I've been told, like if you could play short, you could play anywhere else on the infield, so adjustment isn't too hard. I mean the throw's a little longer, but holding my own for now.
Now, I want to talk to you about your play at the plate because you're a switch hitter. You're one of a couple switch hitters on this team. And let us know a little bit more about that, how you became a switch hitter, because in my opinion, switch hitting is becoming a dying breed. And I think that makes you so much more valuable as you enter the big leagues in the next couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, my dad's been trying to get me to switch hit my whole life, and I always resisted and said, no, like I can hit right-handed.
Troy Claunch unloads on a pitch as he shoots it into the left center field gap. He'll get a double out of this one and an RBI. Jackson Coots rounds third and will trot into home. Back-to-back doubles for the Doors makes it a 7-2 Cotuit lead. Does he have to hit the weight room too?
I'll let him slide on that one. But anyway, yeah, about switch hitting. I mean, I tried it when I was really young, and then I stopped because it was just so frustrating to learn how to hit on the other side. And then finally, my junior year of high school, one of my coaches saw me just hitting left-handed and was like, I want you to switch hit. And I started switch hitting, and I went through fall ball, just hitting left-handed, and it was a grind. It was tough, but once I started seeing some of these pitchers who, had good sliders and stuff, seeing it from the left-hand side was just so much better. So I stuck with that, and I just kept developing it, and finally my senior year I was a full switch hitter.
Shot down the left field line. That one's going to fall for a hit. A bloop single for Barron Radcliffe. Troy Claunch had to hold up at third off a tough read, but Barron's going to take second as the throw comes into the plate. 3 straight hits for the Doors. They're in business with runners on second and third here in the 5th.
Yeah, right now the timing seems good for the Commodores, just sitting back on Hill. Again, not a traditional pitcher, position player who was in the outfield yesterday, and Commodores cracking the code here in the 5th inning.
Which part of the plate do you feel more comfortable at?
Right now, I feel just as good at both sides. I mean, left hand's a little bit more like robotic kind of, because everything's just kind of, I have a certain way of how I work it, but right hand is a lot more natural, more fluid. I can kind of feel what I'm doing wrong more. But confidence level, I feel just as good both sides.
So that's kind of a late,
that's real
switch
late.
to the switch hitting position, because we talked to Logan Davidson last year, and I remember you asked specifically, Danny, and he was like, as long as I can remember, I was a switch hitter.
Yep.
And so
Same
you were
Hayden.
naturally a
Right-handed
hitter,
Uh-huh.
and then it wasn't until late high school that you became a switch hitter. Wow.
Yeah, it was late, I guess. I mean, my dad wasn't really crazy about it because he didn't start switching until his freshman year of college.
Okay.
Which I don't know how he did that, but it worked out for him. So like junior year for him was like, oh, you're starting earlier, and everyone else was like, you're starting late, because people like Hayden, people like Tyler have been switch hitting since they were like 6 years old.
Right.
So, I was a little later on that train, but I don't regret it.
58-mile-an-hour bouncer rolls into the catcher, Colton Kessler. What would you do against the guy who's thrown 58?
I gotta tell you, guys who throw that slow, it's tough. It's because you're so used to, especially up here, seeing 90+ every day. I mean, you mixing that guy that's throwing 40 miles per hour slower, it's just like you don't even know what to do, because you almost think it's too good. So you start swinging at bad pitches sometimes, or you start taking it because it's just your timing's just all over the place.
Moretto takes that pitch on the inside corner. 2 outs now against the Falmouth Commodores with a couple of runners on.
Smith's going to come into DH here. 2 down now with 2 runners on. And Trey, I want to ask you a little bit about how much you moved, because I didn't realize that you grew up in Toronto at first, and then you were a little bit all over the place. What was that like as you were growing up?
It was tough. I mean, like, it was tough as far as making friends, just because it's hard to make friends. You're staying in place for a year and then moving and then moving and moving. But I mean, I don't regret it. I had the best time ever moving and kind of just to see different cultures in different cities and all that. I mean, I grew up mainly in Miami, so always loved Miami. It's very diverse, and you get to see some crazy things in Miami. But had a great time in everywhere I was, from West Coast to East Coast, and I was blessed.
1-1 to Taylor Smith, too far inside. But Houston is it seems like it's where your heart lies.
Yeah,
even though you only lived there for a couple years before. Well, you still live there because you go to college there.
Yeah, I mean, Houston, I've always gone to Houston my whole life because all my dad's family lives there.
Okay.
And so I've always visited, and I always loved it. I mean, the weather's a little hot, but you get used to it, and I love Houston.
3-1 now the count to the big catcher who's DHing. So he watches a strike just catch the inside black.
So we asked a couple different guys who came into this booth about the team. How do you feel the team is working right now, and what do you think they can do come the next week?
I mean, in my opinion, this is the best team I've ever played on. As far as both talent and just the guys on this team. I mean, we have, as you guys can see, like, we have the best time, and we make the most of every moment, every game. Whether we're doing good or bad, we have a good time. Always find a way to bounce back. So it's been a blast.
Well, you're kind of the ringleader of all of that. I mean, some of these post-game interviews that our silent reporter Katie Florio tries to do, Trey is always in the mix of things, being ridiculous.
I try. I try to make my presence known, no matter what. Whether I have a good game or not, those post-game interviews always get me in the right mood. So, it's awesome.
Ferguson with a pop-up over towards short. A nice slide and catch by Adam Oviedo over his shoulder will retire the side. The Commodores score a run on 3 hits, no errors against Cotuit, and they strand the bases loaded. Still 7-2 in favor of the Kettleers. Trey, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, best of luck next week.
I appreciate it.
See you soon.
We'll be right back.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20 plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day, like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day, like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Welcome back to Gov Fuller Field in Falmouth, Massachusetts. Danny LaRose joined alongside David Korsanowski. Big shout out to Trey Cruz and to Zach Deloach for coming up in the booth and really educating us a lot on baseball.
They were awesome. I mean, it's not often that we get to have the 3 and 4 hitters on the best team in the Cape League in the same inning, and both of those guys, extremely talented players who I think are going to have great careers in front of them. So very grateful to them. And
very nice guys, too.
And yeah, they're awesome.
We mentioned how it was such a cool moment to have Deloach, the number 2 hitter on the Cape, neck and neck with the number 1 hitter on the Cape, being able to break down the number 1 hitter
that was awesome.
As he was at the plate.
I just wish it was longer at bat because it was only 3 pitches.
3-pitch strikeout. So anyway, Justin Foy is going to come in relief for the Commodores. This is his first day activated for the Doors, and he'll see an appearance.
Yeah, Justin Foy is going to be a junior next year out at Western Illinois. Remember, we saw one of the Western Illinois pitchers with the Commodores earlier in the summer in Javin Drake. Foy had a 5.17 ERA last year with an 0-5 record, 7 starts in 18 appearances, 1 save, 31 1/3 innings of work, and big problem, like a lot of young pitchers in D1 baseball, were those walks, 51 walks to 46 strikeouts.
1-1 count now. The fighting Leatherneck throwing to the Blue
Blue Devil.
Sheesh.
That's funny.
It's been a long day of talking.
It has indeed. Doubleheaders can be tough.
Yeah, tell me about it. Duke Blue Devil Matt Mervis, who in his last time up hit a 2-run bomb. 7-2 Cotuit lead, as they've been only throwing position players on the mound, but they've been getting the job done. Here's a chopper back up the middle. Ferguson has been busy these past couple of innings, but he's been perfect. Another 4-3 putout for the first out of the 6th.
Yeah, the only one nitpick with Ferguson's game was that little bit of a wild throw on the double play way back in the 3rd inning. But other than that, he's fielded every ground ball and gotten it over to first in a hurry with some pretty accurate stuff. So not bad from the backup second baseman.
Cameron Hill, who has become the pitcher in this ball game, will get his first at-bat of Game 2, batting in the 3-hole. First pitch Hill sees is a strike. 92 miles an hour on the gun for Foy.
Yeah, he really rears back with that small frame. I shouldn't say small frame. He's lanky. He's a lanky pitcher.
Breaking ball, check swing, but it paints the inside black. He just went from 94 to 79 in the same exact location. Cam Hill in fits. 0-2 to the lefty from Kentucky. Chopper foul, just manages to stay with the hook. Hill batting .223 on the summer. He got the start in game 1 at right field. Reached base a couple times with a hit by pitch. Was hit by 2 pitches last night. He's a guy that gets on base a lot, even with that low average. Cotuit, 7 runs on 10 hits, no errors. The Commodores, 2 runs on 8 hits, 2 errors. Breaking ball just misses the outside corner. Tried to go backdoor with the curve, and he can't get the call. Comes home with a 2-2. It's a fastball that's shot out towards left field. Maisel is there, and he'll make the catch. 2 up, 2 down for Foy.
5 in a row retired by Commodores pitching. Something we didn't talk about because we had Deloach up here was he really buckled down after giving up those 2 runs on the Adam Oviedo double. Pasek on the ground out, and then he struck out McWhorter and Gonzalez to end the 5th inning. Maybe not one of Worcester's best outings as he gives up 4 runs in 2 innings, but showed some grit down the stretch.
Now it'll be the cleanup man, Robbie Martin. He clocks one into left center field. Blake Dunn giving chase, and he will get there in time. Blake Dunn shows off the speed, and it is the first 1-2-3 inning worked by Falmouth pitching all evening. Top of the 6th, the Kettleers go down in order, and we'll head to the bottom of the 6th, still 7-2 in favor of Cotuit.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more. Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Welcome back to the Gov, but David, we're not going to be here for long as we're packing up our stuff, heading to your car, and we're going to drive around the Cape League to check out what's going on in some of these other ball games.
Let's do it. First game of the day was between Falmouth and Cotuit right here. In case you weren't able to tune in then, the Commodores won 7-2. Harwich and Brewster. Brewster already eliminated from playoff contention. They were up 4-0. And then Harwich claws back and ties that game 4-4.
It's a big point.
It's the second tie of the year for the Harwich Mariners, and they are a sleeper team for me. I think that they can make a run in the East Division with that pitching staff. Also, interesting note, one of their most recent additions, John Tehan from Mass Maritime, comes in and pitches 5 innings of scoreless relief to allow the Mariners to come back in that game. Hyannis up 9-3 on Yarmouth Dennis. They could finish with 9 wins if they get that 2 points out at Red Wilson Field. Cotuit obviously up 7-2 on Falmouth right now. Wareham leads Bourne 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd at Spillane. And Orleans and Chatham, a huge game to decide first place in the Eastern Division, tied up at 2s right now in the top of the 2nd out at Veterans Field.
1-0 to Kevin Kendall with a third baseman Mervis playing all the way in on the grass. 2 balls, no strikes now to the lefty. It's still Cam Hill on the bump for Cotuit. His pitch, grounded towards second base. Gonzalez with an easy flip on to first. And this is something that Trey Cruz was telling us about when he was in here. When you face a guy who throws 50 miles an hour slower than what you're used to seeing, it's just so hard to time some of these pitches. And you might start swinging at bad pitches. You might start watching good pitches go by because you just don't know where it's going to float in. And in Kendall's case just then, it's tough to line it up and time it and get good contact.
Yeah, exactly. Just a soft ground ball.
First pitch to Maisel misses.
So only 3 games scheduled for tomorrow. Brewster will play Bourne. Again, Brewster, that'll be their last game of the season.
Ground ball again towards Gonzalez as he fields it on a run to his right on to first. Back-to-back 4-3 putouts in the bottom of the 6th.
And Orleans will play Chatham again. So they play each other 3 times at the end of the season to decide first place.
That is what we were expecting.
Yeah,
from Falmouth
exactly.
Cotuit.
Exactly.
Instead, it turns out to be Orleans and Chatham, who are tied in points right now. Chatham has the edge in head-to-head, so they technically would be in first place. But again, with 4 points up for grabs and the game tied up at 2, might go down to the wire out in the Eastern Division.
Which would be crazy.
Blake Dunn now facing an 0-1 count. Here's the pitch from Hill. Ground ball again at Gonzalez. It's going to be 3 straight ground balls to the second baseman, and all 3 of them recorded for outs. 1, 2, 3, go the Doors in the bottom of the 6th. We'll be right back for the top of the 7th from Go Fuller Field.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Final inning of baseball set to get underway at Go Fuller Field for the regular season. They will be back here on Friday for Game 1 of the playoffs, but this is Game 43 of 44. Game 44 for Cotuit, and right now they have the lead over the Commodores 7-2.
Yeah, so with a win, Cotuit would finish an even 20-20-4.
A lot of ties for the Kettleers. That leads the Cape. Chavers swings at the first pitch he sees, torques one into right center field. It's going to roll to the fence. Parker trots into second base, and he will stay there with a leadoff double.
All right, quiz time for you and Max. One team in the league only tied once. Who is it?
Oh, we just went through this the other day.
We went through it, but that was the only team who hadn't tied.
And then they tied.
And then they tied, and now there's only one team, because there's been a lot of ties this week.
Is it that team?
I can't remember our last conversation. I'm just going to ask you guys. One team in the league has one tie. Everyone else has 2 or more.
Yeah, because Harwich was the one team that had not tied yet.
Okay, so Max's guess is Harwich.
So it's safe to say that they have only tied once. This skips away, and on to third base goes Parker Chavers. I think it's Harwich, but I'm going to say Wareham just to
throw it in there.
Throw a different answer.
You guys should have been listening to my Around the Cape League. If Harwich didn't have a tie and then they tied that night, and they tied today, they have 2 ties. So the only team with 1 tie is Bourne.
Oh, I got really, really hopeful that I got it
18, 23, and 1.
Here's the 1-0 to Robinson. Swings and misses at a 92-mile-an-hour heater. Things going wrong for the Commodores in Game 2 of this doubleheader, but it's all but meaningless. Everything has been situated in the Western Division. The East still a scramble for those top 3 playoff spots. Everybody's separated by only 1 point. The 1-1 misses high, but YD, how about that? They dropped the last 2 games of their season, both of them to Hyannis. I mean, Hyannis, that game's still not finished, but they're leading 9-3 in the 9th right now.
I'd have to look a little bit more at the box scores, but I think that the Red Sox are just conserving arms for the playoffs, because I think about it this way too, Danny. With Orleans and Chatham going up against each other tonight, you got to assume they could tie, but one team's probably going to win. Then tomorrow, that game between Orleans and Chatham, the loser will most likely have to play YD in the first round.
Right.
You do not want to lose that game, because you would much rather play Harwich is good, man. The East is going to be interesting. Seriously.
But my point being is that YD pretty much sees that they have an opportunity to potentially take first place. Probably not. Here's a high chop back up the middle. Going to be a tough play for Kendall, and he can't come up with it on the bare hand. Chavers is going to score, and Robinson will reach first with an infield single and an RBI. Things get worse for Falmouth. It's now 8-2. But to my point is YD could have made a run for first place. They're only a point behind both Orleans and Chatham. Probably not. But could have gotten second place. Say, one of those teams loses these next 2 games and YD wins. But they're content, saving some arms, getting their players rest, and going into the playoffs as a 3 seed without home field.
Yeah.
I can't blame them.
The East is going to be really interesting, man.
The only team who will not be participating are the 2017 champs, the Brewster Whitecaps. Here's a line drive up the left field line. It will roll out of play. A ground rule double off the bat of Adam Oviedo. And so far in the 7th inning, Foy is getting shellacked.
Yeah, this is tough for Foy, but I think if you're pitching coach Mike Landry and head coach Trundy, you just got to ride him out here for the 3 outs. He's a starting pitcher. It's not like he has an innings limit. He's got, no innings on the summer and just needs 3 outs, so it might be a long inning, but just got to keep him out there if you're the Commodores.
Colton Kessler, who got his first at-bat a couple innings ago in replacement of Cody Pasek, will now be the hitter. The lefty from Kentucky has nobody out, and both runners in scoring position after 2 doubles and a single. First pitch way outside.
Yeah, I'm going to go on the record. Harwich is going to win their first round.
Okay. Who do you think's coming out of the East?
I still like Chatham's roster.
Me too.
But
They've been playing bad baseball recently, but
I would be shocked if Orleans does. I would go Chatham is the most likely. YD is the second most likely. But I like Harwich into the Western Division Final. Or Eastern Division Final.
1-0 to Kessler, misses outside. Harwich reminds me of the Louisville Cardinals this year, who were the best team in the ACC all season long. Entered the ACC tournament, and they dropped both games. First to
Harwich reminds you of them?
No, Chatham.
Okay.
First to Boston College, then to Clemson, and Louisville doesn't even get a win in the ACC tournament. And what I said at the tournament was they got it out of the way. Is that this team is not going to lose 2 games. Their coach is not going to stand for it. They're not going to go back to Louisville and be the same team. They're going to have a fire under the seat of their pants, and they're going to go all the way to Omaha, and they did exactly that. They didn't end up winning the whole thing, but still they
I
made
loved Louisville this year. They were one of the best teams in college baseball, no question.
And that's who Chatham reminds me of, dropping their last 5 games, but they're such a good roster that that's not going to be sustained.
Yeah.
Count quickly becomes 2-2 after a couple foul balls to the opposite side.
The one thing that interests me about Chatham is they had a ton of guys released. Anthony Villar, Jack Owen from Auburn, Hugh Fisher, Zarian Sharp. I mean, Sharp at pretty much in every – well, he was a great pitcher. Owen, a good pitcher in relief. Villar from Miami.
We see that a lot on the Cape late in the summer. So much movement. 2-2. Skips outside, good block by Clunch. And that's something we talked about in Game 1, specifically when you're thinking of the Commodores, but it applies to Chatham as well. If you are the top team out of your division, the Doors the top team in the league, how do you sustain that success if you're seeing a couple guys go home? We've seen Tawa has now left the team, getting a couple of replacements like Ferguson, who's entering the summer, and you want to see the same type of results out of him, but there's no guarantee. Kevin Kendall will be leaving before the playoffs as well, as the 3-2 misses outside, and the first 4 base runners have reached for Cotuit here in the 7th.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think Falmouth has lost less than other teams, which is encouraging if you're a Commodores fan. And most importantly, none of those really good pitchers. Last year you had T.J. Sycamore head home. He was one of the best pitchers in the Cape. You had Matt Canarino head home before the end of the summer. You have Majinski, Aleman, Nastrini. They're not going anywhere.
They are here for the long haul, and those will probably be the first 3 guys that you see in the first round against Bourne if it makes it to 3 games. First pitch swinging is McWhorter as it goes into shallow left field. This is going to be a tough play. Moretto giving chase. Coming in is Maisel. He makes the catch. No tag up from third by Robinson as he stays put smartly. First out of the inning.
Yeah, that was a big out and a long way to go for Maisel. What a day he's had, huh?
Yeah.
Double, home run, almost had a second home run. And then he comes in a pinch hitting situation in this game. Doesn't do anything at the plate, but makes a nice defensive play.
Commodores trail Cotuit 8-2. The Kettleers trying to win their second game against the Doors, who have locked up the season series. Currently lead at 4-1. Nick Gonzalez, the leadoff man, is 2 for 4 on the day. On the game, I should say. First pitch to the righty is taken up and in for a ball. Nowhere to put Gonzalez, so you got to throw strikes, and he's the guy that you want to throw the least amount of strikes to. An aggressive hitter, according to Zach Deloach, who hits just about everything and has the confidence to prove it. 15 multi-hit games for Nick, including this one. Foy's 1-0 offering, down in the dirt.
Would love a strikeout here if you're Foy. Came in the 6th and worked a 1-2-3 inning against the meat of the order, but then the bottom half of the order he's had a little bit more trouble.
Yeah, surprising to see, but this bottom half of the order has been pretty solid. Shavers especially, and Oviedo as well, both with multiple hits. Oviedo a couple doubles in his last 2 at-bats. The 2-0 fouled away. Great pitch, and Gonzalez just couldn't turn on it in time. Nick was named an All-American in 2019. Hit .432 at New Mexico State with 16 home runs and 80 RBIs. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
That's unreal. We
Yeah.
know New Mexico State hit a ton of home runs. And he was part of that squad. He led the country in hitting. The 2-1. Fastball in on the hands. Beautiful pitch. 2-2.
And remember, he had an on-base streak that lasted the entire season at New Mexico State and went through, I think, almost 20 or 30 games on the Cape League summer. It was something like a 75-game on-base streak between Cotuit and New Mexico State.
He's going to be a special player. Already is, but he's going to do it in the major leagues. 2-2. Breaking ball just a little bit south of the knees. Nick is from a town in Arizona just south of Tucson called Vail. Now goes to school at New Mexico State, which is in Las Cruces, which is right along the Rio Grande. Making the trip up north to Massachusetts, playing in the Cape League for the first time. Deservedly so. Foy's 3-2. Inside for ball 4. It's an RBI for Gonzalez, even though he doesn't get a hit. And the merry-go-round is in motion.
Just got to put the ball in play. Try to trust your defense here. 2 walks now for Foy, combined with a couple doubles and a single.
And again, the just change that has happened after a perfect 6th inning and now allowing the first 5 of the 6 batters you faced in the 7th to reach. Something has changed with Foy. Cotuit has cracked the code. Matt Mervis grounded out as the first man to face Justin last inning as he swings at the first pitch and loops it behind home plate for a foul ball. Mervis has been insane against the Commodores in these last couple of games. Yesterday, had a home run and a single, a 2-run home run in the first inning. Game 1 of this day, he went 0 for 3 with a walk, but then today has a single and a home run again. 4 RBIs in these last 2 days. Breaking ball misses down and in.
I got some good news for you.
What's that?
Sean Harrington, Falmouth Commodore, temporary player earlier in the summer, picked up by Harwich, which we all knew. Started today, went 1 for 2, scored a run, walked and was hit by a pitch.
Good for Sean.
Good day.
The Babson Beaver got 9 at-bats with the Doors in just a couple of games played. He was here for a little while, but didn't really get too many starts.
And it was right before all those catchers came.
Yeah.
Right? It was before. Who were the catchers then? It was Claunch and
here
Michael
then?
Turner. Sorry. It was Sean Harrington and Michael Turner.
Yeah.
Michael Turner went home earlier. And then Clonch came first, Taylor Smith after him,
Yep.
and then Matt Nelson from Florida State.
2-1 is roped into right field. This ball is at the wall, and it's out of here. A grand slam off the bat of Matt Mervis. He now has 8 RBIs in the last 3 games played, all of them against the Commodores, coming off of 3 home runs, including that one, to make this a blowout. Even more than it already was. It's 13-2.
So the Commodores will play the Bourne Braves on Friday.
That's the thing, is this game doesn't matter.
Right.
And at this point, it's just, like I said to start the game, it's just paperwork.
You made a point that I thought was really lucid.
Please say good. Okay.
Lucid. It was a very lucid point. When you said it's like in any league, right? If a team's locked up the division in the NFL and they already know what seed they're going to be, they're not going to be starting their quarterback and running back in
How
the
many
third
times
quarter.
have we seen Peyton Manning miss Week 17 because the Colts had already locked up the division?
You see it in the NBA. You see it in hockey. Hockey not as much. Baseball, you see it. Got to rest guys before the playoffs, and the Doors have been doing that. Foy, again, making his first appearance of the summer because they can't afford to throw any other arms. They genuinely can't with the playoffs starting in 2 days, and that's one of the reasons they're down 13-2. Doesn't taste good, but it's not the end of the world.
And now he plunks Cam Hill, who has been hit by a pitch 4 times in these 3 games played against the Doors. So Cam Hill keeps getting on base because he just keeps wearing pitches, and Matt Mervis keeps hitting home runs against the Commodores.
Yeah.
Doors won the first 2 of this 3-game set. Won Game 1 last night 6-4. Game 1 of the doubleheader today at 3 by a score of 7-2. Right now, Cotuit leading 13-2. And again, neither of these teams can jump anybody. Falmouth at first place already. Cotuit locked into 3rd place. Just need these final 2 outs of this inning and then 3 more in the bottom of the 7th to complete Game 43. Ball 1 misses outside, and then it's back to action tomorrow again for Falmouth against Wareham in what in the Western Division will be a meaningless game, but will decide seeding 1 through 10. And the reason it has to be played is because of home field in the potentially championship games. Say one of the more minor seeds comes out of it. We'll explain that a little bit. You can explain it better.
Sure. So Falmouth, Wareham, Cotuit, and Bourne are set. 1, 2, 3, and 4. But you have to make sure that the seeding is set versus the East Division, too. So Falmouth knows that they're the number 1 overall seed. But should Wareham make the championship, they need to play 44 games so that they know who has the better record between them and Orleans or them and Chatham. So that last game means something for them should they make it that far. That's why it needs to be played.
So assuming that the top seeds in the West and East don't make it to the championship game, and let's say Wareham does, then it will really matter if they finish in 4th versus 5th, because that will decide home field in the championship game.
Right.
As of right now, it seems futile. Here's a ground ball over to first base, slow enough that Hill is going to reach second without a throw. Coote steps on the bag himself. Martin is retired on a ground out. 2 outs now, but still, Cotuit will be up at the plate. They've already scored 6 runs and batted 9. They will now bat 10. Parker Chavers, who led off the inning with a double, will come up again.
Yeah, this is the first time that I can recall that the Commodores have been batted around against. Maybe once against Bourne in that 14-0 blowout, but not often you see more than 9 batters coming to the plate in an inning.
First pitch to the left fielder / pitcher / great hitter Parker Chavers. 0-1 the count. He's 3 for 4, 2 singles and a double. To this point, had gotten up in every other inning. Every odd inning he had gotten up, and now he's gotten up twice in the 7th. The 0-1 from Foy. And now he hits Chavers on the foot. Looks like he gripped that one a little bit too hard. Plunked the lefty for the 2nd time in 3 batters. And there are runners on first and second as this grind of an inning refuses to end.
Here comes Landry, I believe. He just flashed to the catcher Clonch and also the home plate umpire, Tim Carey.
Taylor Smith is warming up in the bullpen for the Commodores. He is a catcher.
Yes, he is. He is a catcher. He does catch.
We have not
You know what he doesn't do?
Pitch.
Pitch.
We have not seen a position player pitch outside of Austin Langworthy, which isn't really a position player at this point. He's more of a two-way player now with 7 appearances and a couple of saves for Lang. We will see a true position player pitch now. Taylor Smith, who is a catcher, will come on in relief for Justin Foy, who could not get out of the 7th inning after working a perfect 6th. Here in the 7th, he really ran into a wall, allowed 6 runs on 4 hits, no errors against the Doors, still 2 runners left on base that belonged to him. His day will be done after an inning and 2/3. Now it's going to be up to Taylor Smith just to get this one final out. We'll let Taylor warm up and we'll head to a break on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. We offer over 400 different beverage choices on Cape Cod to quench every thirst, and more than 150 are low or no-calorie options.
Welcome back to Go Fuller Field. We are still in the bottom of the 7th. The 11th batter of the inning will come up for the Kettleers, who lead 13-2. They have 14 hits now compared to Falmouth's 8. Runners on first and second for Cotuit, and the first pitch from Taylor Smith is a strike.
87 on the gun, baby!
How about that from Taylor? He's a catcher who can throw some lasers down to second trying to catch guys stealing. He's got the velocity right here. Here's the 0-1. Ground ball towards second, throws 2 pitches, gets the force out at second, and that will do it for the 7th inning.
He just tipped his cap. Taylor
Smith, if that is it for him and will not be featured in the playoffs on the mound, he has now thrown 2 pitches on the summer and a 0 ERA, whip. He's the best pitcher.
He's the best pitcher in the Cape League.
Yep, there we go.
Standing by it.
That's how statistics work. That'll do it for this inning. An onslaught of runs for the Cotuit Kettleers. They score 6 runs on 4 hits, no errors, 2 left on base. We'll head to the bottom of the 7th. Last looks for the Commodores, trailing by 11.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. We offer over 400 different beverage choices on Cape Cod to quench every thirst, and more than 150 are low or no-calorie options.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Heart of the order for the Falmouth Commodores as we begin the bottom of the 7th inning. They trail by 11, 13-2 in favor of Cotuit. First pitch to Jackson Coots is slugged into right field, right at Robbie Martin. He doesn't have to move much. The Doors are unloading on Cam Hill right now. He's throwing straight batting practice, and yet they just can't find outfield grass.
I mean, they can't find the grass. They're finding the outfield perfectly well.
Yeah.
Ton of flyouts, and last inning they had 3 straight groundouts to second base. Cam Hill's now pitched 3 1/3 innings, giving up only 1 earned run.
Doors put together 3 hits in the 5th inning, a double from Coots, another double from Clunch, the man up right now who watches a strike, and a single from Radcliffe all in a row. Ended up stranding the bases loaded. Falmouth has now stranded 9 runners on the base paths in 6 innings. 1-1 now the count to the catcher from Oregon State. It's been all Cotuit in this 6th and final matchup between these two teams. 1-1 misses low. Commodores right now not in that playoff mindset just yet, with everything that they needed to accomplish in the regular season checked off. First place in the division, playoff spot, let's start there. First place in the division, home field, first place on the Cape. In a couple days from now on Friday, they'll have to re-enter that mindset and get that fire back.
I think it'll be challenging. I think, maybe those first 3 innings against Bourne, I think that's going to be really important. What tone does Majinski set when he's on the mound, and how do the bats respond against Mac Lardner for Bourne? That'll be the pitching matchup.
3-2 to Claunch. Line drive into left field. That one's going to get past the glove of Oviedo. A single for Troy. He now improves to 2 for 2. So those first 3 innings are going to be important, and the important part of it is, are the Doors going to come out kind of lackadaisical like they were now? Or
I don't even know if, because they would never come into a game, especially in the playoffs, lackadaisical, right? It's just will they look as good as they have? And that is the question I don't know the answer to.
Because you want to retain that muscle memory, that mind-muscle connection, and if your mind starts to coast a little bit, even if you're not intending it to, your physical part of the game might lack as well. Ball number 1 comes in high to Radcliffe. He's 1 for 3. As of right now, Falmouth, like they'd always say, taking it 1 game at a time.
Right.
Not looking ahead towards Friday just yet like we always do. 2 balls, no strikes to Barron.
Hyannis beats YD 9-3, so YD's locked in at the 3 spot in the East.
And the Harbor Hawks win back-to-back games for the first time all summer.
Is that true?
I think. Go check it. I'm totally shooting from half court right now, but I'm pretty sure because I've looked through their schedule a couple times. Entered today with 7 wins, now cap it off with 9. Radcliffe swings and misses at a 78-mile-an-hour pitch.
Oh, they did it once before.
Oh, okay. But how about
they won a doubleheader against Bourne, that's right.
Oh, yeah. How about the Harbor Hawks, though? Waited till the last couple of games of the season to start really putting it on. Here's a broken bat. Slow dribbler over towards the right side. Easy flip on to first. An awkward 4-1 putout.
Yeah.
Advancing to second is Claunch, but the Doors are down to their final out.
And we'll keep you posted on the scores around the Cape League again because they're more important. Wareham is up 4-0 on Bourne in the bottom of the 5th. Again, they'll have to play tomorrow so that they know where they stack up versus Chatham and Orleans out east, should Wareham make the championship. Orleans and Chatham, those are going to be an intense couple games. They're still tied up at 3 in the bottom of the 4th.
Steven Moretto, 0-1 count after a foul ball. Watches one drift too far inside. Moretto so far 0 for 3, a ground out, a fly out, and a strikeout. Has gotten out in just about every way you can. Here's a ground ball to short. This should do it. Oviedo. Toss on to first in. Time 6-3 put out will end the ball game. The Cotuit Kettleers win game 2 of the doubleheader by a score of 13-2, and they take the final matchup against the Falmouth Commodores. The season series ends at 4 in favor of Falmouth, 2 for Cotuit. Doors drop only their second game in the last couple of weeks, but again, not much of a meaningful game, kind of just getting guys some reps, getting guys some practice as you have to play these final couple of games entering the playoffs.
Yeah, what I'm interested in is this is possibly a Western Division final matchup. If Cotuit beats Wareham and if Falmouth beats Bourne, these two teams would square off in the West Division and all of a sudden have games like we saw in earlier July, because this is a Cotuit team that can hit the cover off the baseball. They have a lot of power and a lot of home runs we saw in the past couple days from Matt Mervis in particular. And this is a Falmouth pitching staff that their front three in Majinski, Aleman, and Nastrini are dirty, and we saw the bullpen was nasty in that 11-game winning streak. But this is a possible playoff matchup, and it could be interesting to see.
Cotuit with 13 runs on 14 hits and no errors. Falmouth with 2 runs on 9 hits and 2 errors. Chris Gonzalez is tagged with the loss, allowing 3 earned runs on 6 hits through 3 innings of work. Getting the win is Parker Chavers, who only allowed 1 earned run on 3 hits. Cotuit just throwing out a bunch of position players, and I think that's what did Falmouth in. Although they were able to rack up those 9 hits, they stranded 10 runners on base, getting great contact, but like Zach Deloach it was Trey Cruz telling us, when you see a guy who's throwing 60 compared to getting 90 all summer long, it's going to throw you for a loop, and even the contact you make is not going to be that great, and this is something the Doors aren't going to be really facing in the playoffs.
Right, and that's something that you got to think about too, is they're going to have to adjust back to 90-91. I don't know what Wareham's going to throw at the Commodores tomorrow, how serious they'll take that game with Jerry Weinstein as their manager, but that's another piece to the puzzle is how I'll put it. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
So not much to recap in this ball game. Yeah, 13 runs scored for Cotuit, but a Commodores team that's kind of just coasting along into the playoffs already with their seed locked up. Cotuit, meanwhile, firmly in 3rd place. They'll be going up against the Wareham Gatemen come playoff time, but Cotuit looking really sharp right now. Their bats are definitely live because Falmouth has not been throwing position players in this 3-game set they just played. They were throwing true blue pitchers, and Cotuit has been hitting the ball a lot.
I like Cotuit in the first round against Wareham. I think it'll be a really good series between the Kettleers and the Gatemen, but I think Cotuit has a slight edge, especially with Wareham slumping a little bit and Darren Baker, one of their best hitters, leaving the Cape on the summer. It'll be a really good series. I would be surprised if it goes a sweep either way, but I would probably pick Cotuit.
So that will cap it off for Game 43 for the Doors and Game 44 for the Kettleers. Cotuit will have a day off tomorrow, and they'll be able to rest before playoff time. The Commodores will have to play tomorrow at 6:45 p.m. out at Spillane Field for Game 44 of 44 against the Wareham Gatemen before the playoffs pick up on Friday evening. That'll do it for this presentation of Falmouth Commodores Baseball. For my producer, Maxwell Trink, our sideline reporter, Katie Florio, and my great broadcast partner, David Korzanowski, I'm Danny LaRose saying so long from Gov Fuller Field for the final time in the regular season. Again, first pitch coming up tomorrow at 6:45. Be sure to tune in at 6:40 for the Falmouth Commodores pregame show on YouTube Live. We'll see you then.